make things official that we started our meeting at, did I say 9:07? I mean 7:07. Any volunteers to open us up in a word of prayer? No, no?
I'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
Father God, thank you. Thank you for bringing us together to do your work. Please guide us as we go forth, order our steps, allow us to be swift, mindful, easy, obvious, and strategic, and keep us focused. For those folks that are not on the call, and our pastor, we ask you to look after them as well in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
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 Okay, we have we have a huge, we have a pretty big agenda item. A lot of and most of this stuff is just based on observations that I've done and a few other folks have done in our first 2 weeks of opening the church. We are still in a condition where we have like I guess, a temporary or a temporary certificate of occupancy. So there are a lot of primary systems that are just not available right now, and that is one of the big concerns as far as the security and the security systems in terms of the locks and also the security cameras. But before we get down into some of this, we do have Troy. I went ahead and I actually saw on Charmaine's website about her funeral. So this is the actual information that I copied from their, Facebook site. So I went ahead and I got the HDMI cables and the splitters, so it should be able to set up those two monitors like you requested. Um, I'll try to put those together tomorrow night and just kind of set up and then do an op test. But I got an email from one of Charmaine's sisters. I think it was an older, I can't remember. Her name started with a B, and she is working on the actual file. But if I don't know who's been communicating with her from the church officially, but I did ask her if she does send a PowerPoint file. I don't know. Um, I don't know how they're going to incorporate music, so I did make a suggestion that they try to put it in Microsoft Movie Maker. That's one of the programs that I use, but there's something that the family would have to decide on doing that. I know you mentioned music, but I just don't know what they plan to
So they
present.
were going to incorporate the music into their presentation.
Okay.
Was what their thought was. Not that you would provide music to accompany the presentation.
Okay, so
And
the,
was going to do that.
okay, so we don't have to worry about any. I guess we'll have the sound system up and operational as far as the microphones and everything, but I was thinking that they needed to like hook up to our system and pump music out the speakers that way. But if they're just doing it for the viewing part, I think the HDMI cables and I have like a little preamp should be sufficient enough to kind of hear throughout the facility.
And it doesn't need to be loud anyway.
Right. Right. I'm sorry, my dog is going, my guard dog is going bonkers right now, so somebody must be at the door if you hear some barking. Um, so the other thing is, you were saying that to expect about 250 people. I guess we are going to allow the family to use the parking lot first, and everybody else would just kind of go do street parking. I don't know if Walmart will be available during that time period, so they're going to have I would say street parking for the most part. And again,
Walmart is available 24/7.
so they will allow. Yeah, I guess they would allow people to.
Yeah, that's a standard no matter what time of day, when, whatever. We can always refer people to Walmart.
Okay. So during this funeral, will McGuire Funeral Services have stickers or indicated that those people that's going to park there use the parking lot, or is that something we shouldn't even really be worried about?
So I'll check with the family to see if they're riding the limo or whatever, because that costs more money. So
Right.
If not, I'll just let them know that they can park there, or pretty much we can give them some stickers or something.
Yeah.
a pass to park in the parking lot.
Okay.
And then
Could you guys give me 1 second?
sure.
Okay, 1 second.
Who else is on the call?
I think it's just you and I.
Who's I? Is that Nana?
That's not true.
And Jessica.
Okay.
And
See,
Jessica.
Nana?
And Jessica, Mr. Johnson.
Sorry about that.
Jessica, I heard.
Yes.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Troy.
Okay, so anyway, back to the funeral. Yeah, I really don't know how many people to expect, and I'm usually not as involved in this as I am with this one. And the only reason I'm involved with this one is because they're my friends, So
Yeah,
I've been,
I understand.
and that was the first point of contact.
Okay.
So, but Anne is really truly handling all the arrangements because that's what she does, and she does it very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to check with her to find out when McGuire's coming.
Okay.
I will be there by 9:00 on Monday morning. Now.
Okay. So McGuire. So.
And the reason why I said this is why I told you pianists and some singers. I don't know that they are. I don't think it's Curtis. I don't know. Pastor was making those arrangements.
Okay.
So I think he's going to some retired former choir members. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll just I'll let Ann just tell us what she needs, and we'll just kind of go from there. This will definitely be the first test, of the system, as far as bringing the casket in. I would imagine that the order would be they would come through the garage, and then we'll let them in through that loading door, and then take it right up to the P1 level and take her up to the first level. So is that elevator, that freight elevator holds like 4,000 pounds. So I don't think we'll have any problem as far as lifting it. We'll hopefully McGuire will come in a little early to kind of survey the area. I guess the other thing is that we may have to be there a little earlier than 9:00 because I would imagine they want to set up flowers and things like that. Did the family mention anything about that, or?
You know what? They did not, but I will surely ask them.
Okay.
Because I think about it.
Yeah, so that'd be like an action item. I
I'll ask them.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I don't know if I sent this meeting request out to Ann or not, but yeah, we're definitely going to have to. And I got an email from the pastor as far as a lot of the coordination that's being done. So we have to kind of tighten up on that because right now, I know you're getting requests in, I'm kind of getting requests in, but we're still, in that temporary certificate of occupancy. So I'm really not sure how many resources or things are going to be needed, when we really get things going. So I would imagine the pastor will probably want to call a separate meeting with a smaller subcommittee, kind of like what we were talking about, and we can kind of work the bugs out from there. So I guess we can just kind of table this issue for now until we get a few more, some more additional feedback.
The only thing where we're lacking on this situation is somebody to cover sound and the board. I mean, Chris Cherry would be perfect for this situation, but he has jury duty on that day.
Okay, yeah, especially if he has jury duty. So I guess, I mean, I can get some more additional feedback from Isaiah as far as, we know how to turn the board on, but as far as controlling it and things like that, we might just have to turn the board on, set a slow setting, and just kind of go from there. We just don't know right now. I'll,
Well, like I said, I'll come early if you want me to. But see, Ann will be there. Ann will be there to meet McGuire and all that kind of stuff. But
okay.
I don't think, for logistics and all that kind of stuff, we probably need to somebody else needs to be there, and I'll be there. But again, that's not my area of expertise.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and see, this is the the thing is that this is our first, like I said, our first funeral in a new complex, and I've never handled it from this perspective either. So, I mean, I know the types of things that will happen because we, plan my own father's home going. So, we'll definitely treat everything with dignity and respect, and we'll support the family as best as much as we can. So I'll send out another tickler to our trustee board members and even the men of the church to see if we can have a few additional volunteers on station. And I'll take that for action too. So um, even sooner, we have there's another funeral. This one is on Saturday, but the family needs to use our gym for the repast. So I would imagine we have to coordinate with Ann again to actually get the time that they're going to bring their food and their setup. So that looks like
Okay, I
something.
can do this as well. I met and Wayne. Just so you know, I don't normally operate like this, but this was kind of dropped in my lap in the last minute. I said no,
Hmm.
but the spirit of the house said yes.
Okay.
So I met with the family and gave them a tour of the gym. They're happy with it. The caterer came by to see the gym.
Hmm.
Michael set it up.
Yeah.
From what you told me, it's complete. I will be there. I can't. That's the hard part. Is committing. I can't commit other people's time. So I, said I'll be there to open up. The caterer's going to be there at 1:00. So I'm going to direct them up to Old Piney Branch Road. Open up the chain doors. If you haven't already taken the chain off, hopefully you would have by that time.
Yeah, yeah, we're going to leave those chains on until I guess when they arrive for security purposes.
So I'll be there, but Ann is going to be accompanying the family and staying for the duration. When the family came through, I said, you cannot leave anything in here. Don't leave a pan. Don't leave nothing in here. And they understand. They understand that this is what the situation is.
Okay.
And they were A-okay with it. So I told them that everybody's going to have to enter through Georgia Avenue, 6100 Georgia Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, if they have a lot of gear, we may be able to get them through. If we open those doors to the gym, they can get through that way. It'd probably be easier for them. They just use that side.
now you're dealing with older people. They're not going to be able to walk up that hill. Only the caterer should be using that door.
Yeah, that's.
We thought about this. We had walked through. We thought this through,
Mm-hmm.
and so the ground level floor is the best. I mean, the main entrance is the best one for the visitors and the guests that are attending the repast because of the elevator.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They'll use that. I refer that as the tunnel entrance, and don't ask me why. I just call it a tunnel. And then the caterers, because they want to have their cars and supplies like right there, they can just kind of park there, and we'll set something up for them. We can do that because I had to be there Saturday anyway. I'm kind of training another person with the audio visual stuff, so I'll help out. Yeah, with that as much as I can. At least in the morning.
Right, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be there at 11:00 to do a tour for the AA group that used to be there, so they can decide whether they want to come back or not. But I am not, like I said in our last trustee meeting, I'm not authorizing the use of space as little as possible. I've had, the Democratic Ward 4 people reach out to me. even TCB wants the building people to start meeting there weekly. They can, but I just don't think we should allow that just yet. I still want to stick with these situations are kind of like emergencies,
Right.
repast and funerals. But I still think until we're secure,
Yeah.
everybody got keys, until we got trustee schedules and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got 3 keys. That's it.
No, I actually made some more keys up, so most of the trustees have them. Right? There's 3.
Okay, did they sign the form? Did they have keys?
No, I'll take care of that. Yeah, we'll take care of that as far as the key forms.
Okay, that's cool. So, I mean, you can start, once you work out a schedule or whatever, then I'll start. We got folding tables and folding chairs. That's it.
Yeah, but I'm as far as like security of the building, I'm concerned about of course, the soundboard and the instrumentation that is on the actual stage. So there may be a way, like we figured out a way how to lock one of the side doors. So from the 4th floor on down to the 2nd floor, the residents can get in, but we blocked one exit off. We had to do the door the other way. So we're going to put some measures in place where they can't get in. But as far as the rest of the security of the building, I do not recommend bringing any groups in now until we have our cameras up and until we have our security code system in place and the whole 9 yards.
Okay, I'm in total agreement, and I will not make a move in that direction until you give me the thumbs up.
Okay, and that's all going to be.
If there's any exceptions, I will come to you first.
Okay, and that's all going to be dependent upon, the risks that the pastor is willing to take, and also the how long it's going to take for the contractors to get the rest of the system in place, because technically the building still belongs to those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess and then let's see. I saw your addition. You said secure cleaning contract. This needs to be assigned to a trustee. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take care of actually both of these line items. As far as the supply system, so we have Fred and Denise are kind of like our logistics trustees. So we'll have like another subcommittee meeting on this to figure out, because I'm going to have to also lock up with this with the finance team. And just these 2 statements, the way I read it is that we actually have to establish a proposal for any group outside of the church, and also a proposal or at least a statement of work for the trustees to know exactly how to handle this. And what we do know is how fast our supplies are depleted. So we do have a pretty good indicator of how much stuff we kind of come in and take out based on cleaning supplies only. So that, as far as the rest of the things, we don't have that because we just don't have enough stuff in the building. So that's going to take later. But we have a pretty good indication of how fast, we can get things turned around as far as after the church, how fast the snapback. And we'll refer to that as snapback, because once we have rehearsals and services and things like that, practices for, people are going to use the facility. So we got to clean up after that. And then those primary 3 services during the Sundays, we had to clean up after that. That's the big snapback, and so we can have everything back together by that Monday, if that makes sense.
Yes, but I don't want you to reinvent the wheel. The CPA already has, they will put together a statement of work for you where you can just tweak it. That's why they exist.
Okay.
So there's, mostly for the small churches who don't have people to do these things for them, so I went online to try to see, and I actually started to do it. I said, wait a minute, I'm not doing this.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
put in your information, somebody contacts you. I mean, I know all the people, I'm on the board, so it makes sense.
Right.
But I mean, and they work all that stuff out for you. as
Okay.
far as the cleaning contract is
Yeah,
concerned.
that'll work. That'll work perfectly because, like you said, we don't want to work hard. We want to work smart, and we don't want to reinvent the wheel. So,
Right. So I mean, they have security, they have cleaning, they have whatever.
okay,
So what was I gonna say? And we pay our membership dues every year. So
okay. So I'm gonna switch screens right quick. I'm gonna show you guys another ugly screen. This one is horrible. This deals with our current our parking issues and situations that we have. So I'm about to shift screens, and I've already sent this out, but I'll send it out again. This is a representation of our parking organization that we have, and we kind of color coded everything. We have EVO, we have the church van, we got the TCB vehicles, residential, not residential, but retail parking spaces, and we have parking spaces for our senior citizens during the day, and then staff at night. So as you see where this cursor is, if you can see that, right now the TCB folks have two dumpsters, and this area is filled with debris. So I actually moved two of the dumpsters over here, and I'm going to ask them to get them to clean up this space so we can at least get two more parking spaces. And we can just kind of use these for um, maintenance workers, or like maybe the trustee on duty or someone like that. So that's what this is. I already talked to TCB, and they wanted me to take these yellow spaces over here and trade them up for here because the ladies are working at night and they feel, we want to make everybody feel comfortable because there's an exit door where the cursor is right now. If you guys can see this, there's an exit door right there that goes straight into the TCB lending office space. So I was going to just basically shift this from here to over there. Also, associated with that is we have a loading dock area right here, and just more or less generalized direction. But some things we noticed during the process is that folks were kind of coming in there too fast, so we're going to put signage in there 5 to 10 miles an hour. We need to have some kind of medical station set up because I mean anything can happen in a parking lot. So we'll just have maybe like a quick medical station somewhere on a wall, like a panic phone or a button or something like that. We already talked about that. The biggest problem here is those they have a lot of sewage drains where cars are actually the cars can hit the sewage drains. So I brought that up to the attention of the building folks, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, everything's so cold. They got the columns there," but we're going to try to take that a step further and try to get them to change their ways, is to put some more protection, because if those sewage pipes are hit, they will crack and we will have sewage all over inside of the church parking lot, and that's going to be a really messy situation. So we don't want to do that. Um, there's still no oil spillment containment kit. That's pretty much simply, we probably need to get a couple of large cans of cat litter, a push broom, and a shovel. That's all we need, because cars that are going to be coming in and out of that building may drip oil. And the problem with that is the EPA has been very, very, very active in this area, because I live like right around the corner from the church, and I see the trucks coming out. They're doing a lot of ground testing, and they probably want to be able to fine us. That's the whole thing behind that. So we had to get the oil spill containment kit in place. I would say, especially once we get the full letter of occupancy. Um, Fobs, we know we need fobs. Going back, I'm going to bring up another document right quick. Um, I'll call this, and I sent this thing out. This is kind of like a Emory parking plan. Uh, and I won't go through the whole thing. I just want you guys to kind of see one area. So we have that same thing. Um, as far as the fobs are concerned, the folks from TCB will get a fob, of course, and then people that have assigned green spaces will get a fob. Other than that, I think there's supposed to be a code associated with the garage door that we can actually activate from inside of the church. So once we see a car pull up, the camera will illuminate on the car, and then we can just hit the up button and it's go up and come down. But that part of it has not been installed yet. So for now, we'll still have to put people down there to let people come in and out of the service. But these green spaces will get an actual coded fob that's going to be for P1 only. And this is going to be the same system on the P2 level, but that's going to be for the residents. And so the residents will not be able to get in P1, and we will not be able to get in P2 unless, we get a heads up permission, for like an advanced service or something like that. So does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So that's what this is all about. And also, one of the things we found out, there is definitely a height restriction. So we were trying to bring some flowers in, and this is for delivery. There's definitely a height restriction because if there was a couple of trucks that went through, but they just missed one of the cameras, and they just missed some of those pipes. And the thing with the pipes, those pipes are called a dry fire suppression system. If those pipes are hit and we release the air out of those pipes, it's going to cause the entire sprinkler system down inside of the garage to go off, and that would be a very bad thing. And speaking of sprinkler systems, when we did our walkthrough, we went back into the can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, we can.
Oh, okay. It seems like I'm in another world right now. Yeah, so when we went back there, they had this, and I was trying to get some pictures. I'll send the pictures out. There's a big, huge fire control pump room, and the one of the pump was in some kind of fault mode, so it was sending out this piercing signal. So if you're down in the parking lot or you're down in the P1 and you hear this high pitched sound, that's what it was. So the Wolf Fire Control people know about it, and also the fire department knows about it. So we actually walked in there and took a look at it. So, and we'll have probably talk about more on that. We'll talk more on that a little later on. As far as
I hate to
go
interrupt
ahead.
again, but you said fire department, which segues into the day that the fire drill went off, the fire alarm went off. And the firemen went to the key box and there were no keys. I have no idea what that is, or that I didn't even know there was a key box until this happened. So
Was that on Saturday? Because we were
it was a Thursday.
okay.
It was a Thursday.
I didn't know about that, but we were wow. So we were setting up. We were setting up for the breakfast on Saturday, and it was me. It was Phil Harmon, I believe. No, it was me and Reggie. So we were just talking, and we saw the fire department. They had the big truck outside, and the guy was just looking at the building. We're like, hey, so we let him in, and we were talking to him. They said they were just observing the building, and so they told us that the fire control panel in the front of the building was incorrect. It was labeled wrong. So I told the construction team that, hey, you guys need to come back down here and, make sure the labeling of this thing is correct. And also that alarm that was in fault mode, that's probably what caused for them to respond. So they know about it, but I think
No, what caused the fire alarm when I was there was a resident hit the button on the probably was moving something and hit the button on the elevator.
Oh, okay.
I texted you when it was there. Cable and I happened to be in the building,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
texted
I heard
what
about
happened.
that one. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. But when they went to the key box, there were no keys.
Okay, so we
The
have
people
to.
had to come. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
No, so you're saying we have to, yeah, that we have to put a key, a fireman's key in the box and a
And
post.
I know you don't know what that means, but I am quoting it right.
Okay, yes, and if you see where this is actually grayed out, we actually have that because they mentioned the same thing to me. So if you go through the tunnel, and if you look right above the control panel for the code, there's a little small black box. That small black box, that has to have the key inside of there to get through the door because firemen, if they can't get through the door, they're going to break it down.
He
So
had his accent pain.
yeah, they're gonna their job is they're gonna do their thing and we can't stop them. And it's going to be the same situation for the postal delivery. So um, I will take an action to ask Hazel about that, because I know that those little control boxes have a key, but I just don't know how to secure it because, well, the key is just simply not there. So that'll be that'll be a Hazel action item for the most part because they're going to be, it's still part of the whole building thing. Um, I guess it's in medical. Yeah, we talked about medical stations. So right now we're using the little medical kit with the defibrillator and some gauze and some just basic medical needs supplies. We keep that near the usher station near the main sanctuary door. Um, we talked about the needs of and these are just things that we noticed during the whole service, that issues that kind of came up. We know we already talked about the security system. We already talked about the network. Security patrols. That was another thing that the guys were doing, was helping us out. They were just kind of constantly walking throughout the entire perimeter and inner doors to make sure that all the doors were closed, and especially during the time when during the offering time, we had a couple of guys posted in that back hallway, so when they brought the money back to the finance office, they could count it. And we were concerned about that door, so we put a block on that door where it cannot be opened from the exit sign, the side of
The
where the
resident side.
residents rent. Correct. Yeah. So only thing we have to do is we either have to knock those blocks off, or we have to evacuate out of there. So that's no problem. We'll put some signage up. Handheld walkie-talkies. I've been trying to get. I got a few of them laying around the house, so we're just going to try to find a few more and just kind of give them to the men, or anyone that's on the security. We'll call them security monitors for right now, so we can all monitor one channel and just say, hey, if you see something, say something, and then we'll kind of go from there. We
Well,
have
can't
been.
you like order some? How much do those cost? I mean, can
I
I get a
mean,
cost list for some of these things?
yeah.
I mean, some of these things are necessity, especially in a space that big, and we're gonna have to, And some people want to donate some things. Can I donate some? Yeah, you know what? You can get us some walkie-talkies. This is how much they cost. Is a link to the website. Something like that.
Okay, yeah, I can send. I mean, we can get them at. You can get them anywhere. You can get them at home, and they're like this construction walkie-talkie. You get them at Home Depot. You get them at Lowe's. They all have the same frequency package, so that's won't be any problem. But I can send you a link where we can get them because I use them frequently myself. Let's see. Yeah, donate large monitors. If anybody want to donate TV monitors, that'll be good because one of the ones I had was broke. So we're down to two, and
Is that something you want to put in the bulletin?
um, I guess if people, if they want to go ahead and do that, that'd be great. Um, CIC, Church Information Center, Combat Information Center for us Navy type. I got a big old status board that's 8 feet by 4 feet. It's basically a sticky board, one of those sticky things, the whiteboard. I'm going to put that thing on the wall, and we can start writing all our scheduling events. And then from there, I guess the idea is to say, okay, well, we have 4 events on this date, 5 events on this date, how many resources we need, and we can kind of put our brains together. So that'd be like the brain room. And
Okay, well, there is a one that already exists at 12th Street upstairs.
mhm.
Is that one? Can you use that one? Can you take that one?
I mean, we could, but
Scheduling 12th
yeah,
Street.
it's a lot easier to mount the sticky board. And once you pull, it doesn't pull the paint off. We use them at work all the time. You just put
Okay.
it, yeah, you just spread it out. You roll it. It comes in a roll. You roll it out, and you put it right on the wall, and it stays there until you pull it off.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
yeah. So I'll show you it, and then we probably can get a few for the classrooms. I think that would help a lot of the teachers out. Your kids want to draw on and stuff like that, and it's dry erase. So, let's see. We talked about the cleanups, bathrooms. We kind of beat that pretty bad. Change. We talked about that. That was pretty interesting when we found out that the doors were actually changed. So I did not know that on the first day of services. So we had people in there when we did our grand opening, and we didn't even think about looking on the outside. But I pushed one of the doors open. That's like, oh wow, this has changed from the outside. So if we had to evacuate, that would have been a bad situation. So now that we know, and now we know the combination, we were trying to keep the gym off limits to people, and we had people down there constantly saying, "Hey, if you want to get out, let's go this way." So that's what kind of increased our patrol up. And there was a door that leads to the P1. We kept that one open, but we had we had a couple of guys that's making sure that people didn't lose their way, and nobody was kind of coming in doing anything crazy. So that took care of that. Let's see. Yes, we talked about the subcommittee. Um, this line item right here, the what went wrong, what went right. I sent that out to a whole bunch of people, so I'm still waiting for some of the feedback, and I'll bring this up, and so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, this thing right here. So it's basically, I just kind of randomly put people in, and then this guy named Wayne, it said, okay, what did you think about church security? And Wayne said, well, we cannot secure the building due to blah, blah, blah. We already know that. We also know that we need to coordinate with 4D. So Oliver Lake is a detective at 4D. And we've been, sometimes the police will swing by, but the thing is, we want to be able to keep a uniformed police officer at least at a couple of the services, maybe not the 1 o'clock, but definitely the main service, just to show a presence. Because if anybody comes to those doors and they look kind of scope around and they see uniform 50, they might just say, "Oh, this is not the church for it." Because again, we're trying to tell the guys, if you see something, say something, and we just kind of go from there. So this has a lot of things that I was just asking a bunch of questions. So Troy, I got your feedback, and I got something from Curtis. Curtis actually pointed out something pretty interesting. He went through the resident side, and the door did not close all the way automatically. So he walked in that door, went around the corner, and he got through the P1 parking lot and came right through the church. And I said, "Oh, okay, that's a good find." It's stuff like that that we kind of need to know, because it's going to take us a while to work the bugs out. Trustee stuff. We know that we have to get our own call, and our duty trustee. That's why another reason why I'm starting to divvy out the keys. But we just kind of have to probably have another quick meeting with. I'll have it with Angie to determine how we want to do our own call. There was a couple of other things. Let's see, feeder panels. So once we did our walkthrough, we noticed that a lot of the electrical feeder panels downstairs, they were not marked. So if we have any kind of issue where we have to secure electrical power based on a plug or a light, right now I have absolutely no idea where this stuff is located. So when we did our walkthrough with the construction company, they said, "Oh, we can't mark the thing. That's not part of the contract." And I'm just looking at these guys like, I said, "All right, well, we'll tone it out ourselves." So I'll just get a few toners and we'll just kind of go around and so we can mark to figure out what plugs are here and there. Because as people start plugging like the microwaves and the uh, refrigerators and all that stuff in, they might blow a fuse. So if they blow a fuse, we got to figure out how to cut it back on. We have a massive electrical distribution center down in the uh, down in the lower level in P1. So I just have to actually set up another walkthrough where we all can walk through and kind of train everybody how to secure this stuff. But I want to be able not only for the trustees, but for the just a general kind of walkthrough of all of our critical systems of where the gas is coming in, where our main water shutoff valve is, what to do if the fire alarm goes off, and just things like that. So again, I sent this agenda out. We are recording it, so people can kind of read, and we'll kind of go from there. Move back plan. I know Jessica and Angie are going to be coordinating this. And remember, wow, I just got a big feedback. Remember, we were talking about those two parking lots, that parking lot 46, 47. Jessica, we may be able to use that as the staging area. But, that's something we have to figure out. But the rule of thumb is we cannot really move back into the church until that security system is in place. Because, again, once we have all our stuff there, we really don't have a way to secure it. So right now, this is the Q&A. We had a lot of stuff to go over, and we have like about 10 minutes. So does anyone have any questions or comments about what we talked about tonight?
I have a comment about on something that you did not mention. Further down on the agenda, the piano and the organ.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what the scoop is with that.
The organ cannot go back into the sanctuary, and the reason why is because it's so hard to move.
Really?
If the community wants to use it to do a play or something like that, So I'm not sure where it's going to go. I think Pastor's giving it some thought, but I just need to put that out there that Hammond organ cannot go back in because they had to tear down the altar to be able to take it out. Well, we don't have that anymore. But I'm just.
I mean, how heavy? I never really paid attention to it, so I'm trying to figure out how it looked. Only thing I knew that it was this big box with this little spinning horn thingy inside of it. I didn't know exactly what that was, but that's all I remember. Was there other? Was it
If
like?
it's on wheels, then maybe we can get it through a door or something. But if it's not on wheels, we're in trouble.
Okay, so I mean, is it bigger? Is it bigger than the freight elevator?
I don't think it's bigger than the freight elevator.
I mean, could it fit on it?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Okay.
We're gonna find out when Angie and Jeff go.
Yeah, and see that's the thing. We're gonna have to, I guess we probably can get down there and do some critical measurements and kind of go from there. But it's like, if I guess if General Giant picked it up and got it out there, they can put it back. That might be their job to do. So we can just kind of get their help because that's, we can't move that thing on our own. I already know that because I heard I remember it being pretty big, and we didn't have a baby grand piano, did we? We just had like a regular box piano in the old church.
No, we had a yeah, it was a box piano.
Okay.
It was an upright piano.
Upright.
It's upright.
Piano.
Look, I don't know
In
anything.
terms of the piano,
Yeah, I don't know anything about music, so.
in terms of the piano, I think that they could possibly go in the cafe.
Oh.
Did you guys?
Okay. I mean, we'll figure it out where because I mean, maybe in the if it's on wheels, I guess we can move it around too. It just
Okay. Can I ask a question that might come across as a little tacky, and I don't mean to be, but I just really kind of need to ask the question. Can you guys hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
So, with regards to Gentle Giant, are we in a rush to get things out of there, or are we okay with maintaining things there?
I I I would say, and this is just from again, my argument is based on security. We're just not ready to accept it right now.
Well, no, I understand that. I'm asking though, as on a financial level, is it okay for it to be there for a while we figure all these things out?
Um, yeah, that's probably a more of a James question. I mean, we can take it for action to actually ask him, but I don't have any feedback on that. Troy, do you have anything?
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
Jessica was asking a question as far as the
If we were in a
financial,
hurry to get.
yeah, the financial
Oh, go
means
ahead.
to leave the stuff in storage.
I mean, there's a cost to it. I think it's a few $1,000s a month,
Two thousand
but
dollars a
we're
month.
not in. Yeah, it's not cheap. A
Wow.
couple thousand.
Okay.
Um, but we're not in a hurry to bring things back, Jessica. I think it's everything is dependent upon security and
Hmm.
organization. We're functioning. So as long
Okay.
as we can worship, then we're gonna take our time based on, as my pastor said, I'm following the leadership, which is Wayne in this instance. So no, I don't think we're in a hurry.
Okay.
Everybody's anxious to get back in and use space, yes. But as far as us from a trustee perspective, no, we are
No.
not in a hurry. We want them to be right.
Yeah. 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 We really got a slow roll on a lot of stuff because it's again, if we can't lock the building up, we don't have the security cameras in place and none of that stuff. There's not much we can really do. And the main thing I'm thinking about is like the liability, because I saw that, Trini, she sent out her errors and omissions form for the Girl Scouts. That's what this thing is. And I'm like, well, if something happens inside of the church and it affects one of those Girl Scouts, that'd be a really bad situation. Especially they're going to say, "Well, you mean to tell me you guys didn't have a security system in place? You mean to tell me you guys didn't have medical stuff in place? You mean to tell me you guys didn't have people monitoring in place? You mean to you tell me you guys had this many folks and you didn't have police officers in place?" I mean, the list goes on. So these are just kind of things that, we gotta be mindful. I mean, this is just me thinking aloud. This is just me. We have a lot of experts on the board. As from even Jessica from the legal perspective. That's what I'm concerned with as well. Because if something happens to one of those kids, while we don't have all these safeguards in place, we're gonna be up the creek, and it's not gonna be pretty at all. So from I
Yeah,
think
I actually sent it that way.
yeah, from a trustee board perspective, I mean, I know if people want to get in, they want to do stuff. I know AA wants to get in, but until the builders
No,
kind of.
AA hasn't made a decision whether they want to come back or not.
Oh,
To be
okay.
honest.
Well, let's
So
hypothetically.
this is the way the AA works is they have to have a group conscience, and basically that's basically sit down and have a business meeting and vote whether or not they want to come back, and the unanimous and the majority win. So they put together a committee of 6 people to come view and see the building.
I think once they see the building and see the potential and see it, they're gonna be like, yeah, we want to come back here, especially if it's a
Well, they have
strategic
a really
location.
nice setup at the Washington Ethical Society, and I know because I attend their meetings.
Okay.
And the thing about it that we don't have that they need is a kitchen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Although, I mean, you can't have an AA meeting without coffee. Let me tell you.
Right. Oh, and
So, but I mean, it's still they could they could easily put their stuff on a cart, and then they want to store
mhm,
their historic podium and that kind of stuff. So
mhm.
just so you know, that AA meeting is the first what do you call it, interracial meeting in DC. And the
Okay.
AA has a book called the Alcoholics Anonymous book, and that meeting is actually mentioned in this book that's 70 something years old.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
So the
cool.
fact that it happened at our church is really kind of awesome. Although it moved from downtown to our church, it's really kind of awesome.
Hmm.
And Pastor really wants to come back, but it's a unanimous. It's whatever it's what they decide as a group.
Okay.
Period. It's not
And
one person that makes that decision on their behalf.
and I guess Jessica, from a legal perspective, if we point out what the risks are, do you think we need to put like a legal document together for them to sign that says, "Hey, you accept this risk. If something happens, the Emory is not blah blah blah," or I don't know.
For AA,
Yeah, or any group.
that would if we can if it's legal to do that, I say we do that. We've actually not been sued, but a lady filed a claim who was slipped in the parking lot. She didn't, she wasn't covered or whatever because she filed a claim 6 weeks after she supposedly slipped in the parking lot.
What what
So
what
I
happened?
don't know that we can really do that. But I think because our insurance already covers it.
Like, what happened in the parking lot?
There was some ice out there or something like that. She slipped on the ice. This is the old parking lot at the top of the hill.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. Well, oh, that when you mentioned kitchen, that actually sparked something. So we know that we have a big problem with the height of the kitchen, but Haskers kind of came up with an alternative solution. You know where the old storage room used to be? So you have those two downstairs stairwells going to the flanks of the church, and then that middle room was a big room was used that for storage. That thing just
Uh-huh.
might be low enough where we can put at least the stoves there, and we just have steamer tables on one side and where they could actually cook on the other side. So that could be
What
that
are you
could
talking about? You mean temporarily?
no, I'm talking about if we can't get if we can't get this kitchen stuff done because of the height, because the ventilation system is not in place yet, but they put the ceiling together. So if you go into I'll show you, if you go into the kitchen, you'll see this huge air handler just sitting on the floor. And it's supposed to be in the ceiling, but it's so big, it's like they either ordered the wrong part or something. But I know, and I know it because I went down there during early in the construction phase, and I guess they thought I was like one of the guys because I just had I had my normal street clothes on and my construction coat, and it was so funny. The guy was like, the dude, he got on the phone. He said, "Hey," he was talking to his supervisor, and he said, "Hey, I'm down here, and they've already put the ceiling up." And he says, "We'll just cut a hole in the ceiling and put the air handler in place, and then write up a work order for them to seal the hole back up." And I couldn't believe my ears. I was like, wow. Then I'm looking at it, and the guy said, he said, no air handler is going to be there because this thing is huge. And it was funny at the time, but I didn't realize all the other issues that were going on. But when Haskins actually came up, he was like, hey, what about that other room? And I looked in there. It's the flooring is low enough where I don't think you have a height restriction anymore. I think it might be it could work. So it's just something to think about. We'll bring it up to the contractors, I guess, and see what they think about it. I don't know. Yeah. So it's 8:01. Any other questions or concerns? Nana, you've been really quiet, but
I'm here. I've been listening.
yeah, I really appreciate you guys, joining. We didn't have the turnout that I had anticipated for. I know there's other, there's other events going on with rehearsals, and then it's been a very tiring few weeks. So hopefully people are catching up on their sleep. I know I haven't yet because I still got papers to write for school, but we have a lot of momentum, and we just gotta continue to keep the momentum going. So I just want to say I really appreciate everybody's help. And again, I know people, they could not call in because they have other prior commitments, but I will I will transfer this into a YouTube file and send it out, and then we have all of the associated documentation that that we need to use as well. So make sure this
And
always.
I lied, Wayne. It's $995 a month for Gentle Giant.
How much?
$995 a month.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's still, I don't know. I guess because I'm thinking that maybe look like somebody else just called in. I'm thinking that maybe because I only spend like about $100. That just seemed a lot. So let's see. Oh yeah, what did I have? I had my where is it at? My Visio drawing up. So one of the thing I want to kind of go over is one of the problems that we have, if you can see it, um, this will represent all of the computers like in Ebo and the computers inside of the church office. So let's say, Troy, this is your computer right here in your office. This big thick line is the backbone of Ethernet or a wireless. That's what this guy is, like a wireless transmitter. So what we were missing was called a corporate router. And then this is the internet. So the missing piece is the ISP, or the internet service provider. So this is the outside world that we're not connected to. All of the stuff is actually connected because there's this little switch has link light, meaning that information is being transferred, but the ISP is not connected. So it would be like a line from this to this thing right here. And that's what's missing. So once we get this line actually in place, and once they connect all of the other offices up, that is going to help our security system, because our security system communicates to the outside world, I think, via internet, and it also has a cellular system that connects to the internet. So that's and this thing right here actually goes through the security cameras, it goes through our regular computer internet, and also our Wi-Fi. So that's why this piece right here is so important, that once this thing is in place, we could be in business, and that's what we're waiting for. And also when the audio visual system comes in place, they're going to connect to this thing as well. So that's why I kind of put this quick drawing up, and then I have some pictures of the actual switch. And again, once we do our walkthrough, we can take a look at all that stuff and just kind of go from there. So are there any more questions or comments? I'll bring up our agenda. I think we covered everything.
Wayne, Wayne, I
Yeah.
have one. Uh, is there security cameras that is in the loading dock from the outside, or there's not security cameras there? Like
Um,
someone was coming in with a load or something, and this wasn't supposed to be. You
I
know
th-
who's
I
going out?
I think I think the security cameras. I have to check. I think there may be one not on the outside of the building, but I know at P1 there's a camera. There's a
Oh, good.
yeah, P1 there's a high security camera, but I don't know about the loading dock.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check on that.
Yeah. Sometimes we might want to know who's actually bringing what or left what. I mean, it's just a thought.
Okay.
Okay.
Say loading dock camera.
Yeah, I can check it and I can go over there.
Okay.
That would be nice to see who goes up the driveway too.
Okay, we can check that. The thing is that again, those cameras are just. I think they some of them, most of them have power to it, but there's no signal. So
Uh,
yeah, they have power to it, but no signal. So they need a return signal back, and if they do have a signal, we don't have the monitors in place. So I think they're going to get like one big monitor, probably like a 30-inch screen, and then it's going to have what's called a quad display. And from that quad display, we should be able to get a feed from it on all of our cell phones and smart, smart tablets and stuff like that. And then when that thing goes off, everybody will get alerted. And then we just say, hey, hit the panic button, let 550 come up there, they do their thing, and then we'll say, hey, is it clear? And then we'll go up there and secure the alarm ourselves, and that'll be part of
okay.
a duty of that would be a function of the trustee on duty. But the main thing
Okay.
is that nobody should go in that building without knowing what's going on, especially if one of those alarms go
Right.
off. Yeah. And that's why we need all those systems in place. Any more
Okay.
questions? Okay. Anybody, any volunteers to pray us out? Mr. John, would you do the honor, sir?
All right. Yeah. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day, Lord. We thank you for blessing us and keeping us. We thank you for being in the middle of carrying on the business of getting all the security and everything that we need to protect the church, to be able to respond to the issues of the church. And we thank you, Lord, for those who have diligently put their efforts and all their strength and everything into seeing that we get a smooth just going on. And so far, except for a few glimpses, we are on track to track those down. We thank you, Father, for our pastor and all those who are connected with this Beacon Center. Lord, we ask that you continue to provide and look after us and strengthen our families, and watch over the community as well as the church. For so much stuff is going on. May we be forever looking and vigilant to see that we are protecting and watching out for the others as well as ourselves. Lord, we give you thanks. We give you all the honor and glory. May those who are traveling mercies on the way home. And thank you, Father, for everything. Thank you for this meeting and everything that has come out of it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Wayne. You're doing a wonderful job.
Wait till you get
Yes,
my
correct.
bill, Troy.
Okay.
Okay, text in the mail, man. Text in the
There you
mail.
go. I like to get paid. I like to get paid in food. Okay.
All right. Later.
Okay. Later. And like
All
I
right.
said, I'll put this out on YouTube. So bye.
Okay.
Okay. Take care,
All
Mr.
right.
John.
Thanks, Lane.
All right.